I watched a couple videos about worm casts. They're telling you how great these are for your garden. What really surprised me was the lies that these people are telling you, just so you buy some worm casting. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with worm casts. I think it's a great form of compost, but that's what it is. It's a type of compost. There is no magic that comes out of the end of a worm. What I'd like to do in this program is to have a look at 3 common myths that I see repeated quite a bit. Then I'll explain to you why I don't buy worm casts. And then finally, I'm going to show you a really easy, free way to get worm casts for your garden. So make sure you stick around right to the end. I've written a book on composting called Compost Science for Gardeners. And there's a whole section in there about doing vermicompost. I've also converted part of that book into a video course, and it's free on YouTube, and I'll put a link to that at the end of this program. So here's lie number 1. Vermicasts reduce pests and diseases. I don't know why people refer to pests, because I've never seen one example of a pest that's reduced by using worm casts. And people don't even claim there is one. They just include it in the statement, reduces pests and diseases. Now, there is some evidence that diseases might be reduced, but there's also evidence that diseases might actually be increased. When earthworms are eating their food, they ingest a lot of microbes, particularly bacteria. And scientists have looked at those bacteria, and what they found was that the ones coming in are different than the ones that come out. We don't know how significant that is, but there is a difference. There is some evidence that the number of pathogens coming out of a worm is reduced. And so people have inferred from that plant diseases will also come down because the pathogens are less. But there's no real evidence that those diseases come down. Just because the microbes are changed coming out of a worm, or the fact that there's less pathogens coming out of a worm, does not mean that you're going to reduce diseases on plants. People are making that link, but it's an illogical link. There's no science to support this. There are also some studies that have shown that the number of plant pathogens in vermicasts is higher than in soil. So in fact, by using this fertilizer, you're actually increasing the number of plant pathogens. Again, that doesn't mean that diseases on your plants will go up. It just means that there's more pathogens. But there has been a suggestion that using vermicompost on potted plants, so things like house plants, is probably not a good idea because they're in a soilless mix and there are very few pathogens in there compared to soil. And we don't really want to add any more into a small pot. This is particularly important if you're growing seedlings. But the bottom line is, there's no real evidence that your diseases will be reduced in the garden if you use vermicompost. Here's another common lie about vermicompost.
Worm castings are one of the richest natural fertilizers known to us, and oftentimes it's higher in nutrition than just regular compost.
So the claim is that worm cast is a type of compost that is much more nutritious than regular compost. I wrote a blog post about worm casts a while ago, and I looked at a lot of studies that actually analyzed the NPK values of compost and vermicompost, and I compared those numbers. And this is what I found. The average NPK from bin composting, that's traditional composting, was 1.4, 1, 1.3. The average from the vermicompost was 1.5, 2, and 1. Now you can see these are very similar. And in fact, the NPK in them depends very much on the material that goes into them. That's why it's really hard to compare these numbers. There aren't many studies that have taken the exact same starting material and composted 2 different ways. But in general, worm casts are not more nutritious than compost. Now, the amount of phosphate is a little higher. But in fact, if you look at the ratio is about 1.5 to 2 to 1. That's not an ideal ratio for growing plants. It's got too much phosphorus. Too much phosphorus can be toxic to plants. One of the problems we're finding with gardeners with raised beds is that they're putting in too much organic matter. And as a result, their phosphate levels are growing really high to a point where they can't grow plants. I've had several people now comment on our Facebook group that this is a real problem. Phosphate should be about 1/3 the level of the nitrogen. Worm casts have the wrong NPK for plants. Now, as I said, the real value will depend on the input ingredients and how it's processed. So every product will vary a little bit. But in general, you can't say that worm compost is more nutritious than regular compost. They're about the same. Now, I got this chart off a YouTube channel by Soil Lab, and it was kind of interesting. They had taken some worm compost, which they had made themselves, and then they analyzed it. What they found was there was almost no nitrogen in it. Now, at first, that seems kind of shocking, and I was a bit shocked. But it turns out that the test they did for nitrogen was not total nitrogen. It was available nitrogen. So they were measuring basically nitrate and ammonium. Those are forms of nitrogen that are available to plants. And when they did that, they found there's almost no nitrogen for the plants. Now, there's lots of nitrogen in the organic matter, and over time that slowly decomposes and nitrogen is released. But at the time you apply it, you're not applying much nitrogen to your plants. How does that compare to compost? Well, compost has the same problem. In fact, almost all the organic fertilizers have this problem. The amount of available nitrogen in them is very low. It's great as a long-term feed over a couple years, but organic material is not a good feed for plants that need nitrogen today. Here's lie number 3. Many people claim that worm compost has more diversity in microbes, and everybody knows that microbes is good for soil, so the worm cast's gotta be good for soil. Well, there are 2 fundamental flaws here. One is that the number of microbes in this material isn't that high compared to compost, and I'll address that in a second. The second flaw is that by adding microbes from your fertilizer to soil, you suddenly change the number of microbes in your soil by either quantity or type. And scientists have looked at this, and that just doesn't happen. So when I take a container and I have microbes in it, and I apply this to my soil, it doesn't really change the microbe populations in the soil. It doesn't increase the number of microbes in soil. Now, adding organic matter to soil does increase the microbes, but that can be any kind of organic matter. There's nothing special about worm compost. So even if worm casts had a large dynamic range of microbes or a large amount of them, it doesn't really affect the soil. The microbes in your soil are the ones you already have. And that diversity, the genetic variability in your soil, isn't going to change by adding an organic material. So let's go back to the first point. Does worm castings have high numbers of microbes and high diversity of microbes? Well, there aren't a lot of good studies on this, but I did find this one that was kind of interesting. So this study compared 3 kinds of compost. Vermicompost that was made by municipalities, so this is sort of a commercial operation. Regular compost that was made by a municipal operation. And then they compared those 2 to vermicompost that's made in the backyard. Now, when they compared the 2 commercial varieties, they did find that vermicompost had a higher number of microbes and a larger diversity. And when they tested those composts in pots in a greenhouse to see how well they grew plants, vermicompost was better than regular compost. But before you jump to conclusions, let's have a look at the second comparison they did. They compared commercial compost to backyard vermicompost. Now what they found was the backyard vermicompost did have slightly higher nutrient level, but it didn't have more microbes and it didn't grow plants better than regular compost. I think their conclusion is really important to understand. I'm going to read it to you. Our results suggest that no generalization can be made regarding the higher quality of vermicompost versus compost because the product quality depends both on the original material and the technology that's used. So what they concluded from their studies, and they would have looked at previous studies as well, is that sometimes vermicompost is better, sometimes compost is better. There isn't a great difference between the 2, and the most important part is what is the material you start with, and how do you process it. But overall, these composts are all fairly similar. And that makes a lot of sense to me. I mean, if I take an apple and I compost it different ways, whether I just put it on a pile and let it compost, or I get an earthworm to eat it and it poops it out, it's a chemical process, but I'm starting with the apple. That's the nutrients I have. I can't make more nutrients. I'm stuck with what I have. All I can do is decompose that into smaller and smaller molecules until they're available to plants. And whatever was in the original apple is what's going to be in my final product. Now, sure, there are some slight changes here. There's some slight differences in the microbes that are active because composting is a hot process and worm composting is a slow process. So there are some definite differences, but I still start with an apple and end up with decomposed apples. So they're not that different. Would I use vermicompost? Well, if I had some, I'd use it. If I did vermicomposting, so I had my own worms and I was using them to digest my organic material, I would use that as well. It's good compost. But let's ask a different question. Would I go out and buy vermicompost? And the answer to that is no. Let me show you why. This little clip is from Urban Worm Company. They make vermicompost.
So let's do the math to find the volume of worm castings that you need. You've equaling roughly 38 pounds. Multiply 38 pounds times 2.66 and you get just a little over 100 pounds. Again, this is for a 1-inch layer of worm casting.
So to put a 1-inch layer on a 4x8 raised bed, I need around 100 pounds. What does that cost? If I go to Urban Worm Company and buy 100 pounds of vermicompost, it's going to cost me $330. That's to put a 1-inch layer on one raised bed. Now, if I go to Amazon and buy a cheaper quality worm castings, I save some money. That's only going to cost me $250. The third option is to go get some composted manure. Buy 100 pounds of that will cost me somewhere around $20. I mean, if I buy some real good quality compost, maybe it's $30. You can see that compost is 1/10 the cost of vermicompost. Now, we've compared the two in this video, and the differences are pretty minor. Vermicompost is not really more nutritious, and that's what I'm buying here. Both products will have about the same amount of organic material in them. That's important for my soil. So why would I pay 10 times as much? I wouldn't. Simple as that. Now let me show you how you can get free vermicompost. Let's look at this vermicompost slightly different. What is it? When you buy worm castings, what are you really getting? I mean, I see companies out there saying this is 100% pure worm casts. Well, that's actually not true. Let's go back to my apple example. I give these worms an apple and they eat it and digest it and they poop out worm casts. What you may not know is that worms actually eat those casts and poop them out again and then eat them again and poop them out again. And a lot of times they do that about 3 times for any food that we give them. But what is in this pile of worm castings? What am I really getting? Well, the real castings are the things that the worms have just pooped out. This is worm manure, just like cattle manure and sheep manure. It's the manure. Now it sits around in the worm bin for 3-4 months before you harvest it. What's happening during that time? Well, that manure is covered in microbes, very high density of bacteria on there, and they start decomposing it. So for that 4-month period, that worm manure is being decomposed by the microbe. Well, isn't that the same thing as a regular compost pile? If I took a bunch of cow manure and piled it up and made compost, it sits there and for several months microbes come along and they digest it and compost it. That's the same thing that's happening in my worm bin. When I buy worm castings, I'm getting some fresh castings. I have some older castings, but for the most part, I have manure that's been composted by the microbes in the bin. I'm really buying compost. I'm not buying worm casting. I think that's a fundamental concept that most people don't really appreciate. Once you understand that fact, it also explains why the differences between the two, between vermicasts and compost, is not that great. They're both a composting process. All right, so now you know more than you ever wanted to know about worm casts. Let me tell you how you can get free worm casts. That's really quite simple. Get your kitchen scraps, take them out in the garden, and throw them on the ground. What happened?
It's feeding time. Earthworms dig in, devouring your leftovers and turning them into garden gold. Bon appetit!
Well, your soil has worms in it. You don't have to buy them. You don't have to put them in special bins. You just leave them in the soil. And what do? Well, they come along and they eat your food scraps. You got an old leaf from a plant, throw it on the ground. The leaves in the fall, throw them on the ground. Your deadheading, the spent flowers, throw them on the ground. The worms come along, they eat that organic material, and they produce worm casts right in your garden. You don't have to take care of them. You don't have to monitor them. You don't have to collect the material. Let nature do it for you. Don't go out and buy worm casts. It makes no sense to me. Now, if I haven't convinced you that you don't need worm casts and you're still interested in raising some worms and doing this yourself, and there are some very good reasons for it. For instance, it's a great way to get rid of your kitchen scraps in the wintertime when the soil outside's frozen. Set up a little worm bin in your basement, keep feeding them kitchen scraps, and in spring you've got this great compost to spread around your garden. So if you're interested in doing that, I have a free course for you that tells you everything you need to know about making your own worm castings indoors. And you can get to that right here. Happy gardening.